Welcome back to You and Money. If you just joined us, we're discussing healthcare this evening. My guest is Clayton Samsudeen, and if you'd like to contact me, my details will appear on the screen. Okay, so everyone believes that anyone who's networked, whether it be a professional, whether it be a hospital, you're going to get inferior service. Is that a fallacy?
Complete fallacy. I mean, the hospitals on the network are the same hospitals like Mediclinic and Netcare, but it's not just all of them. I mean, the pharmacy networks, the majority of them are Clicks and Discount. None of them are providing inferior service. It's just a matter of saying, you know, we can send you X amount of members in a simplistic way of explaining. We can send you X amount of members for a reduced rate. And that translates into a lower premium for the member, and hence members get around 10% discount when they select a medical aid with a hospital network option.
So if someone's going to have a procedure or needs to see a specialist at a particular hospital, they need to realize, like everything else, there are other people other professionals who can do the job, and it may save them a lot of money if that professional is not networked. You may not be able to go to that person, but you can contact your medical aid and they'll give you a whole list of other people, and they'll get the same quality treatment.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's take a couple of emails. Leonard in Westcliff says, my wife and I will be travelling to Israel. I understand that a statement was made last year indicating that Discovery's policy does not provide any medical cover for travellers to Israel. I would appreciate confirmation of this and whether this exclusion is still in effect. I did check up with Discovery. It's still in effect. Just explain to you, because you and I were talking before we came in there, it's not a Discovery exclusion.
No. So we have a few providers that provide this cover. So Medical Services Organization, Europe Assist. So they're the outsourced providers to medical schemes, gap cover providers that also provide international travel. So when they don't provide cover for countries at war, it means the members won't qualify for cover. So it's not a Discovery thing, it's not a FedHealth, it's not any of the medical schemes, it's not a gap cover problem. It is just the fact that the risk is too high, and so therefore no cover is provided.
So one needs to understand, if you've got pre-existing conditions, you think you can take a travel policy.
Yeah.
But a travel policy invariably excludes pre-existing conditions.
Correct, 100% correct.
One's got to be. Are there other countries that are similarly linked to Israel's?
Russia, Ukraine, so any countries that's at full-blown war as we know today, those are countries that would be excluded for international medical travel.
So, you know, it seems strange because you think about Russia and Ukraine, you've got their little slither on the west side, and then you've got this enormous territory, which is certainly not, not physically at war.
Yeah.
You know, Israel's a very small country.
Sure.
Okay. Then Jackie in Parkview says, with increases above inflation looming, what practical tips would you give to members on managing healthcare costs without compromising on the quality of care they receive? I think you've touched on it.
Yeah.
But just again, just for Jackie's sake, just recap briefly.
So the first thing, we have to kick off with detailed, comprehensive healthcare needs analysis. You have to match the benefits that you require versus the plan that you select. I think another important thing is to know your benefits, understand what you have, what you don't have, what are you covered for. If you are able to use like we were talking now, network plan, then do that because it offers almost a 10% discount. Understand medicine formularies on the option that you're on, because the different tiers of option provides different kind of medicines on the formulary, meaning lower plans provide lesser choice, higher plans have more choice with more expensive medicine. So it's important to understand all of those things in order to manage your healthcare cost. Again, the other scenario is, participate in the preventative and screening things, understand that, how that could help, because those are benefits that's coming from risk and not from your day-to-day or medical savings account. So those are a quick few tips on how to optimize and manage your medical aid.
Clayton, how can anyone delve into their medical aid and understand that? And that's where a healthcare broker comes into being. Not just a financial planner, but a healthcare broker.
Yeah.
Your organization. How long have you been doing this program for me?
I think probably around 15 or 20 years.
Is it
It's quite
15 to 20
yeah,
years?
it's a long
well,
time. Yeah.
I hope you'll be able to. If people need to get in contact with you, what's the best way of getting hold of you?
So we've got an email address called engage, E-N-G-A-G-E, at phoenixgrp.co.za, and that's the best way to contact us.
And you'll be able to advise them and
Correct,
give them all the information and help them through this myriad of difficulty, understanding each plan and what it may be. Jonathan in Cresta says, please explain when children can no longer be on their parents' medical aid and what happens if they remain on after expiry periods of claims.
So, okay, let's start here. Some medical schemes don't provide minor dependent rates, even if the child is studying. So there are other schemes that do, so up until age 25, some up to 27. So if the child is now a full-time registered student, that student will pay minor dependent rates. Then there are others that, for example, Discovery, where the moment the child turns 21, they pay an adult dependent rate, irrespective of whether they're studying or not. Now, that is not a negative, it's actually a positive, because the student would technically and most times be in a better health status than the parents, and so therefore could be on a plan that would offer maybe a better matched benefit to the need, meaning a lower type plan. So that could eventually, it would save money if you were to put your healthy young student on a plan that's more suitable. It may even cost half as what an adult dependent rate is. But the benefits are, those that are currently offering minor dependent rates for students studying full-time, we appreciate that kind of pricing.
Are the medical aids picking up that the minor, or is it up to the individual member of that medical aid to inform?
No, the medical schemes, no. So they would, those that do offer the minor dependent rate would write to the broker or to the member and say that, in order to qualify for minor dependent rates, we need proof of full-time study. And once we submit that, we maintain that particular minor dependent rate. And every year that reminder goes out up until expiry, which is either 25 or 27.
And if they had a claim and it hadn't been picked up that they were now a major, that claim could be repudiated?
Yeah, correct. But they would have just switched it to an adult dependent rate without the proof of study.
Okay. Samantha in Midrand says, how do private and public hospital costs differ? And can a private hospital refuse entry if you don't have a medical aid?
Yeah, so the pricing structures are very different. In the public sector, what you pay is determined on your income. And so you could pay nothing for a particular procedure, and that's what happens in the public sector. In the private sector, it's rates as we've been discussing earlier. And unfortunately, yes, that if you don't have private healthcare cover, and if you don't have cash to pay a deposit up front, you can be refused access at the private hospital.
So they can actually turn you away?
Yeah. Well, they're not just going to turn you away while you're dying. They would probably stabilize you and then send you to a public hospital, but there's no an admission that's going to take place.
Okay, Donald in Bishop's Court says, where do medical aid centres get their medical knowledge in being so prescriptive with regards to recommended treatment by doctors?
It's a simple answer. They do have actual doctors and specialists in the employ that help and assist. It's not an unknown thing where it's not people that have the relevant education and study to do this kind of thing. And it's all built on clinic efficiencies and cost effectiveness. So it's not, I wouldn't say the medical schemes are dictating. There are outliers, but I think in most cases I believe they're trying to look after the majority, and there is a 1%, 2%, 3% that won't be covered appropriately.
Does it work?
Yeah, it works.
It works. Then Michael in Mshlanga says, irrespective of my health, how I manage the cost, do I get any benefits or do I pay the same as everyone else irrespective of their health?
That answers, there's two sides to it. So on the one side, yes, you pay the same rate. There's no sort of penalty because you're older. However, there are plans that's known as capitation plans, big word, but what it simply means is those particular plans charge in accordance with income. And the reason why they do that is because they want those that earn the higher incomes not to participate on plans that were designed for low-income earners. So they penalize you if you're earning above, let's say, 18,000 Rand, but you want to join one of those plans simply because you can exploit the plan.
I'm going to slip one more email in. This is Charles in Plettenberg Bay. He says, I depend on chronic medication, but despite having medical aid, I still face substantial out-of-pocket expenses.
And what we have there is a scenario of what is called medicine formulary. Very simple. You have a condition with a predefined list of medications associated with that condition. So to avoid those co-payments, we get to a point where the specialist or doctor has to try to prescribe as far as possible what is on that predefined list. And that's the way to avoid the co-payments and have full cover.
Okay, Clayton, just repeat your email again.
It's engage, E-N-G-A-G-E, @phoenixgrp.co.za.
Well, if you pick up my program, you'll see in the beginning, I have introduced Clayman. Most of the larger medical schemes pay ongoing commission to the broker who originally signed you up. The question is, are you aware of this, and are you receiving any service from that broker? In the case of Discovery, for example, commissions have often been paid for many years to brokers who had no further contact with their clients. It's important to note that medical aid brokers must be registered as financial service providers and accredited by the Council of Medical Schemes. I recommend contacting your medical aid to find out where the broker is linked to your policy. If you haven't received any service or advice in some time, you may want to consider appointing a dedicated accredited specialist who can help you navigate the often complex world of medical aids and products. The medical aid landscape can be confusing, but a qualified broker can provide valuable guidance and ensure you're getting the most out of your cover. Clayton, thank you for joining me this evening.
Thank you.
It's important to note our program is deprived of information and should not be construed as advice. Next week's program, we'll be focusing on financial planning, and if you need to call me, you can. Thank you for watching, and good night.